You are watching No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and these are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and welcome to our new time at 10 p.m. If you're new to the show, we hope you'll like it and welcome. And if you are here from our previous previous spot at 4:30, welcome and thank you for following us to our new slot. Now, you know what's driving me crazy? I'll tell you what's driving me crazy. The vaccine. We're now getting all kinds of messages for a vaccine that isn't even here yet, that we should take it, that we all owe it to everybody to take this vaccine for COVID. Well, guess what? We don't owe it to anyone. I believe in science, and I am a supporter of vaccines. I'm not one of these crazy people who's an anti-vaxxer. Those people are nuts. I'm sorry, but vaccines are important for public health. When I was a kid, my mom took me to get all kinds of vaccines. The vaccine for mumps, the vaccine for measles, the vaccine for rubella. Those are important vaccines. They help stop the spread of disease and a virus. And when we are in a Western industrialized democracy, we should take those. But that is not the same as the COVID vaccine. The COVID vaccine was rushed through. There are no long-term studies. There cannot be long-term studies. And the reason there cannot is we've only known about COVID for less than a year, or about a year, if you account when the news started leaking out of China. And we know that they had COVID as early as September. We know because our satellites watch the increase in parking at hospitals throughout China. The number of cars parked there was huge. It was a lot bigger than that time of year in 2018 as compared to fall of 2019. So we know it's as old as that, but we don't know that it's any older. In fact, it's called novel. It's new, it's different. There are no long-term studies not only on the virus, but also on the vaccine. It was rushed. You cannot rely on something that was rushed. And I know there are a lot of people who've been in these studies who say, oh, I risked it all so that you won't have to. No, you didn't. I didn't ask you to. And the fact is, you don't know what's going to happen to you long term. We have no idea. There have been some deaths in these trials. Now, at least one of the deaths that we know about is not from one of the vaccines. It was somebody that took a placebo. So that person I'm not counting. But we just don't know the side effects. And here's what we do know about the side effects. These vaccines, for the most part, are in 2 doses. And after you take the first dose, you can come down with mild to severe symptoms of the virus. You can have horrible headaches. You can be sick with the flu or the fever. You can be vomiting. Or it can be mild, like a mild cold/flu. We don't know how it's going to affect each person. Everyone is different. And the worry is, as many scientists have told MSNBC and many doctors, that many people will take the first dose and they won't come back for the second, because the conditions are so severe on some people. I just don't want to take something that's been rushed through, and I'll tell you why. Because I do believe in science, and real science involves peer reviews of studies. It involves multiple studies. It involves multiple trials. It involves long-term trials over years, something like 3 to 5 years at the very basic minimum. More like 10 years if you want to test something adequately. I give President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence a lot of credit because in their Operation Warp Speed, they did get a vaccine in warp speed. But sometimes when things are developed in warp speed, we don't account for the long-term side effects, the long-term results. We don't know what it will do to humans 10, 20, 30 years from now who have taken it. There are some people who can get debilitating results of the virus as a result of taking the vaccine. And I hearken back to history. You know, it's a trite but true statement that he who forgets his history is doomed to repeat it. Well, guess what? I look back to the polio vaccine. I'm sure you've all heard of the March of Dimes. The March of Dimes was one of these interest groups that was created and dedicated to the eradication of polio. Now, why is the March of Dimes still around? Because polio has basically been eradicated for the most part. Why is it still around? Because, like most interest groups, it's self-perpetuating. It can't go out of business. There are people who have money interests. They want to collect salaries. They want to fundraise off of it. That's why it's still around. But let me just tell you, it probably shouldn't have been around anymore after the first polio vaccine. What, you tell me? There was more than one? There was a first and there was a second? Yes. So when polio was striking Americans, it was a national health crisis. The March of Dimes was very well respected because it was raising money to create and test this vaccine and to convince people to take it. And because it was so well respected, it convinced a lot of parents to have their children take the polio vaccine. Well, guess what? The first polio vaccine was not tested long enough. It was rushed to market, just like this COVID vaccine. And some children got polio because they did not create a vaccine with the right amount of dead virus in it. And some of the dead virus wasn't so dead. It was live. Children got polio. Some of them became handicapped, disabled. Some of them died. And as a result, the March of Dimes lost some respect. But it somehow miraculously regained it. And they did convince people to take the second polio vaccine, which was the perfected one, which was developed after years of trials. So yes, there were human guinea pigs trying out this COVID vaccine. But this was a matter of months, not even a year. So would I take it? No. Would you take it? That's up to you. It's a personal decision, but I can predict this. We are going to see something throughout society where you're going to have to produce your papers like you would in a state of society. Produce your papers, produce your papers. You know what those papers are going to be? The papers to show whether or not you took this vaccine. I'm not going to have those papers because I'm not taking this for a very long time. Yes, after it's tested and proven, sure, I'll take it. Again, I believe in science. I believe in public health, but not now. Not given what I know about history and rush vaccines and what happened with the polio vaccine. Now, it's in that vein that I discuss what happened in Fargo. So, over the weekend, a local group took to the pedestrian bridge over I-94 to bring up concerns about the COVID vaccine and what could happen if someone gets hurt after receiving it. Now, these were not political people. I looked at those people. I listened to what they had to say in a lot of the news reports. Some of them were right-wing. Some of them weren't. Some of them maybe have been left-wing or independent. And here is the point. Olivia Garcia, one of the organizers, said it's been fast-tracked. It's been how many months and they already have a vaccine out? Just like what I just said. And what I've been saying since the beginning of this show, back when we were at the 4:30 slot. And again, welcome if you're new to our show. She also pointed out, and she is absolutely right about this, that drug makers are currently protected from any liability of potential injuries to the vaccine. That is, for the most part, true. Yes, they are shielded from liability. That was the bargain they made. It's kind of like 9/11, where people agreed not to sue the airlines, the families of the victims, in exchange for money from a claims fund. And there is a claims fund. It's called the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. So you can collect, but you cannot sue the companies. Well, guess what happens when you go against that fund? After that fund, you very likely won't get anything. This is from Insurance Journal. Very exciting title, Insurance Journal. And they said, since 2009, this fund has paid out less than $6 million. That's pizza money. That's a tiny amount of an award one person, one family might get for somebody that died. All right, when we come back, with regard to with regard to COVID, can you believe that some Americans support a lockdown? You are not going to believe these numbers. It will shock you. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Howdy folks, it's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bussin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a comb roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink for trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Beck Communications is honored to be recently recognized with 3 Broadband Now awards. Beck Communications Cooperative was awarded in the categories of Top Internet Speeds Nationwide, Top 3 Fastest Internet Providers in North Dakota, and North Dakota's #1 Fastest Fiber Provider. It's only through the support of our members and customers that Beck Fiber delivers award-winning speeds and service. Thank you, Beck Communications Cooperative members and customers, for your years of continued support.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at AccordSleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Is your business phone system outdated and expensive to maintain? Most large VoIP companies leave you on hold or struggling through online support and training for your employees. With Beck Connect, you always have fast, friendly, local support. Familiar faces with the know-how to keep you connected. Take advantage of the newest technology in voice calling, video conferencing, and virtual meeting rooms. Beck Connect gives you all the features you need with no upfront investment and no obsolete hardware or software ever again. Simplify your communications. Choose local. Choose Beck Connect.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, I told you that a number of Americans do support a lockdown. I want you to take a look at this graphic that we have regarding the lockdown. This is incredible. So, and I ripped it a little bit in the upper corner, but check this out. 64% of all U.S. adults, and this is from a survey at the end of October by YouGov.com, 13,000 Americans, 64% of them said they would support at least a 1-month lockdown. Only 29% opposed, and even 30% that's in the red of Republicans said they would support this. Are you kidding me? 58% of independents, those are not independents. Those are Democrats trying to pretend they're independents. Those are far left liberals trying to pretend they're independents. But this is very, very disturbing that this many Americans would be willing to give up their freedom. So I want you to get further into this. I went to the YouGov.com website and listen to this. 43% of Americans strongly support this. 43%. 21% somewhat support. only 21% strongly oppose this. So about double, more than double, that strongly oppose, strongly support this. That is very, very disturbing and shocking that this many Americans would be willing to give up their freedom, especially given what we know now. I can understand the first time when we really didn't know much about this virus. It was new to us. We didn't know how it was spread. We got conflicting advice, which we're still getting, by the way. And we were told, oh my God, you can't go out except to get food because you could spread this through the air. You don't wear masks, you do wear masks, you could catch it from the surface. No, you can't. We've been getting this conflicting advice, and people just didn't know, and everyone was afraid. That's why we saw people hoarding toilet paper and all of that. We didn't know what was going to be. These stores would even still be open. Now, I don't know why they're still hoarding it. I think it's a matter of media hype, but we know more now. We know that if you socially distance, supposedly, and if you wear your mask, supposedly it's not spread. Now, we know that that's not true either, actually, because in states like Florida, where they don't have these strict mask requirements, they don't have the cases that they do in states like California and New York and countries like Israel, Canada, New Zealand, Italy, and so on, where they have much stricter rules. So we actually don't know, but here's what we do know. We know that we can live with it, and we know not only can we have to. Life in America has to go on. We know we cannot shut down the entire U.S. economy again. We also don't have the money to pay everybody what essentially was a guaranteed income of at least $1,000 a week, plus the money we paid out to businesses, which was a lot more than that when you account that some of these businesses were small businesses that were solely owned by one, two people, or a family, and so on. So we know all of these things, and yet, even given all of this many Americans, 43% strongly support this, and 64% total support a month lockdown. That's crazy. Businesses are suffering. So many businesses have died. Jobs have gone to the cemetery, to the graveyard. People are struggling. Yes, there are plenty of jobs out there for some people in some places. In other places, good luck. So I can't believe that people would be willing to give up their freedom to do this. It's shocking to me. What is wrong with America? And I want to show you some of the results that maybe you haven't heard about. So all of these teachers, the drama queen teachers who are writing these wills and writing their obituaries to basically increase the drama. You know, people are cashiers at stores. They're not writing their wills and unionizing. Well, some of them are unionized, but they're not saying, no, we can't work, we can't ring up your produce, we have to stay home, we have to do this from home. They're not doing that. They know they can't work from home, but these teachers are doing that. So a lot of these kids, as you know, are distance learning. Even in North Dakota, there are hybrid models in a lot of these schools. So listen to this. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Math skills faltered as class went virtual. So this is from a report released by Renaissance Learning, Inc., an online testing program used by thousands of U.S. schools to assess students several times yearly and track their progress. Listen to this. They said it would take students in grades 5 and 6 at least 12 weeks on average to catch up to where they were expected to be in the fall in math compared to pre-pandemic math skills. They also said that for reading, students were also very far behind. They said in reading, children's in grades 1 through 3 were roughly pre-pandemic levels, but they said that a lot of these kids had their parents taking the tests for them. So they didn't think those tests were realistic. They believed the parents were taking these tests. Now, they did say, though, that students in grades 4 through 7 would need 4 to 7 weeks to catch up to pre-pandemic expectations for reading. Now, they also said for many students, the amount of learning lost in math equals roughly the amount of time schools were shut in the spring and it's a giant pause button in learning. These kids are behind. Our country's already behind a lot of Western industrialized democracies. We cannot afford this. And by the way, this analysis was not just 1 or 2 schools or a few school districts in major areas. This was 2 million students tested in math and 3 million tested in reading in 50 states, including the District of Columbia, and also including rural and urban and suburban areas. So this was all over the country when this happened. And this is what's going on here. This is not good for America. Now, there was that. I want to tell you a little bit about North Dakota because we constantly hear the drumbeat from the liberal North Dakota media and the national media saying, oh my God, the sky is falling. Well, how is the sky falling? Is it true that North Dakota, that so many people are dying? No. As I have done the statistical analysis on this show, it is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Very few people in North Dakota are dying. Yes, if you are related to someone who died, our heart goes out to you. And it's a big deal for you, but it is statistically insignificant. So listen to this. North Dakota cases went way down. The cases, active cases in North Dakota went down. They declined for 7th straight day. And yes, hospitalizations rose. So this just goes to show you they can measure this any way they want. They want to report the sky's falling scenario. They'll say, oh my God, hospitalizations rose for a 4th straight day. But if they want to report what's really going on, they will say that the cases have dropped. We are no longer at the top of the list. And when we were at the top of the list, it's because they took 1 or 2 weeks. We are also the state that tests most per capita of any state in the country. And frankly, if we were a country, any country in the world. Now, when we come back, I'll tell you what an El Paso mayor says is the real reason that COVID is spreading. And we'll talk about the 60 Minutes interview that's being made, frankly, much ado about nothing with regard to the elections. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
I just went in for a regular mammogram and I found out that I had a little tumor.
Through the exam and the biopsy, it was determined that I had cancer.
I got a call from one of my doctors that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
After 5 years, they found a local reoccurrence.
The first thing you hear when you're told you have a cancer, it's a little daunting because you don't know where to go with it.
Since 1999, in a partnership between CHI St. Alexius Health and Sanford Health Bismarck, the Bismarck Cancer Center has provided the most advanced radiation therapies and holistic support services for cancer patients and their loved ones for 20 years.
I've been at the Bismarck Cancer Center since it started. I actually was in the basement of Med Center 1 before, when we had old machines and old equipment. And thankfully, the 2 hospitals at the time, St. Alexis and Med Center 1, joined forces to create the Bismarck Cancer Center.
I walk in the door, I get nothing but hugs, and I was marveled at them. I mean, I thought it was the best place in the world.
The staff is unbelievably compassionate, and they explain everything to you.
Everybody's genuinely concerned about your well-being, and the level of care is just top-notch. The Cancer Center just does such an amazing job of helping people.
To me and my family, the Cancer Center means life. It's given me the ability to live out my life with my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren.
Because of them, I'm 2 years out. Get to move on with my life, make a difference now for other people.
I would recommend this center because the minute you walk through that door, they've got your back.
This center means so much to me and to the people that are in this building, and we just want to keep giving it back to the community and providing for them what they need.
I'm Katie. I've been cancer-free for 2 years.
I'm Steve, and I've been cancer-free for 4 years.
I've been cancer-free for 10 years.
10 years.
11 years.
15 years.
My name is Lainey, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years.
Bismarck Cancer Center, your partner against cancer for 20 years.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about the COVID cases in North Dakota and how you can slice those numbers up any way you want to make it look bad, to make it look like it's getting better, and it is getting better, but people can pick and choose. The late Mark Twain, my favorite American author, once said, there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. And these statistics are carved up as a lie. North Dakota tests more people. That's why we're finding more cases. That's why more people have been determined to have died of COVID. Not more people, but a higher percentage. And actually, the percentage is not that high. I've done the math on this show many, many times. It's a matter of 10,000ths or even thousandths of a percent. That's nothing. It's statistically insignificant. Yes, maybe 1 in every 1,000 North Dakotans has died, and that sounds like a lot when you put it that way. So the El Paso mayor has a theory about why so many more people now are dying in El Paso, and why there are so many more COVID cases there, why there are spikes. And you know what he says it is? He says it's COVID fatigue, but not just fatigue. He's saying more people are going out and shopping, and they're getting it shopping. And that has been proven true in a lot of states. So what are you going to do? You're just going to stay home and not go shopping for your food? Is everybody now going to subscribe to Shipt and these other services that go to the store and buy for you? No, we're not going to do that. We want our freedom to see what's on the shelves, to pick out our own food. I want to be able to pick out my own pears and apples and carrots and see what kind of level of freshness they are at, whether they're soft, whether they have spots on them. People at Shipt don't do as good of a job picking out my food as I do. And then I'm going to have to pay them an exorbitant tip because these people are working for low wages. No, I want to go out and buy my own food. And that's why a lot of people are getting COVID, because they're out in the public. So what are we going to do? Live like hermits for the rest of our lives? Hell no. We have to live our lives. And again, don't wait for this vaccine. The vaccine is, a lot of people are not going to take it till it's tested and proven true after years. And so this situation is not going to be resolved. It's not going to go away. And I'll tell you what else is not going to go away. The American spirit, the independent North Dakota spirit. We have to be able to go shopping, to get out, to do things, to go to school, to go to our businesses, to live our lives. Otherwise, America will die. And that's what the Democrats and Joe Biden want. And speaking of Joe Biden, so last night on 60 Minutes, there was this big interview that was ballyhooed by a lot of the mainstream liberal media about Chris Krebs, who was in charge of ensuring the integrity of our elections. I did agree with a lot of what he said, but there's a major flaw in what he said. So one of the things he said is that all of the ballots matched up, that everything matched up, that the numbers, when they hand counted them in the majority of the country, when they had the paper ballots, they matched the numbers, and they showed that there wasn't fraud. But that doesn't show that at all. As I have said on this show many, many times, if you have dead people voting, if you have other people voting for you, if you have other people voting for people who normally don't request a ballot, and they know that, and they take advantage of it, you are never going to know if those people voted fraudulently. You are never going to know if dead people voted. The reason you won't know that is we have a private ballot in America, and we don't have barcodes on the ballots. We do originally, but they're ripped off. And then when the ballots are counted, we don't know which ballot correlates with which voter. So if you find out, for example, that there are 1,000 dead people in Michigan, my native state, that are registered to vote, or if you find that there are 10 dead people in Bismarck registered to vote, and all 1,000 of those people, or even 500 of those people, or all 5 of those, or 5 out of the 10 of those people in North Dakota, if they vote and they're dead, you're not going to be able to find those ballots and remove them from the bunch. And he never got asked about that last night on 60 Minutes, this guy, Chris Krebs, and he never talked about it. And that's the problem with mail-in voting. You are never going to know once the ballots are removed from their envelopes and they are put in those machines or even hand counted. It's not going to make a difference. And that makes all the difference in the world about whether or not you can detect fraud. So what he's talking about really is irrelevant. He was talking about these voting machines like Dominion, and I understand the problems with those, and we've discussed those on this show many times. And those are issues, and those are important. But even aside from the counting machines, it's the ballots. It's the envelopes. It's who sent those envelopes, who actually voted, who actually signed. And also, once those are not matched up, in some of the states, like in Georgia, they did not have to match signatures with the signatures on the ballots. They didn't have to look to see if those signatures match or look sort of like they match. They didn't do that. And then once they remove them, they rip open the envelopes, they put the ballots in the general pool of ballots. That's it. You can't trace them anymore. So everything he said last night was kind of a waste of time. It was academic because he didn't address this major issue. And Scott Pelley, who I believe did the interview, who is a big-time liberal activist parading as a reporter, did not ask him any of this stuff. 60 Minutes did not ask this, and this is the issue with regard to the ballots, as far as I'm concerned. Now, with regard to the Trump fight of this whole thing, I think there's a lot of grifting going on. Listen, I want more than anything for President Trump to be the president. I would have done anything within legal bounds to get him reelected. I think he's did a great job. His programs, his policies, his advisors, they did a great job. He did a lot of things no other Republican presidents, no presidents, period, had ever tried to secure America's borders, to bolster our economy, so on and so forth. But I think there's a lot of grifting going on, and I think a lot of these efforts are fraudulent. They're phony. And I'll talk to you about why and what I mean about that after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Bismarck Central, 4800.
4800, go ahead.
Requesting social services on-call team.
Stand by. 4800 social services requesting additional information.
You can advise social services that we have an 18-month-old female who was in a residence with a mother, now being transported to medical care for overdose.
Trusting your digital life to faceless tech giants can be risky. Will they keep your family and business information truly safe from prying eyes? If you subscribe to local Beck Lightband Internet service, you already have Beck Cloud Backup. Beck Cloud Backup is the safest, most private cloud storage for all your family memories, schoolwork, and business documents. Call 701-475-2361 to start using your free space on Beck Cloud Backup today.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Howdy folks, it's the County Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay bussin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous County Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, I was talking about the Trump fights against many of these states. I think it's now gone into grifting territory. Listen, I wanted Trump to fight this at the beginning when I thought there might be a chance, when the election totals, when the vote totals were much closer. We're only talking about 5 states or so where he lost basically by only about 250,000 votes total. And I'm not talking about the popular vote where he lost by several million. That's not how we elect presidents. We use the Electoral College. However, I think at this point, there have been recounts by hand. He's gone to court, and I'm not saying the courts were right in their decisions, but he's now gone to court over 30 times, and most of those have been losers. And now Georgia has certified, Arizona today certified. There was a rally outside by a lot of Trump supporters. There were thousands of people, it looked like, and they certified the election. So where do you go from here? Why are they still raising money? I'll tell you, this has become grifting for a lot of these lawyers. Giuliani, who reportedly was getting paid $20,000 a day for this, he claims no, that he and Trump are going to settle up at the end. But still, he's not getting paid chump change to do this. And I think some lawyers will tell you, no, you don't have a case here, I'm not going to do this. But there are other lawyers who will say, oh, yeah, I can do this, give me money, give me money. And I think that's what's going on here. This is grifting. And there are these groups like Stop the Steal that you look them up, and they're run by people who have a history of grifting and criminal activity. I feel bad for the working class people who believe that maybe somehow this could be overturned, and they're sending in money. It's not going to be overturned. Unfortunately, Joe Biden is going to be inaugurated on January 20th. It's not going to change. They've lost these results and these cases. And what is the end game here? I'll tell you, the end game is not to change this. These legislatures, they're trying to get them to not certify Biden electors, to send Trump electors. They're not going to do it. If they do it, there are going to be riots in the streets. And that's not to say that mob rule should rule the roost in what we do in America. It shouldn't. But I'm just telling you, this is not going to happen. So if you're one of those people sending money, stop. It's going down a hole into Rudy and Jenna Ellis and some of these others' bank accounts, and they're laughing at you all the way to the bank. All right, Inauguration Day. I said this, I think, a week or two ago when I talked about how Trump was winning in the polls, or maybe the day before that. I said that he should announce his run for president in 2024 on the day of Joe Biden's inauguration. He should maybe hold an event. And I said maybe he should do it during Joe Biden's inauguration speech. I said that on this show. Well, guess what? Now that's the rumor that he's going to do that. Now, he denies that that is what's going to happen, but just watch. President Trump is a disruptor. He's not just going to go quietly. He will go. He's not going to be dragged out of the White House like all these liberals are saying. He's going to go. But he is going to make fireworks. I don't think he's going to attend the inauguration, and that's fine. He doesn't have to. Good for him. He doesn't have to do what other people did. He's not required to. It might be the classy thing to do, but that's not his strong suit. He makes fireworks. That's fine. I think he should do that. That's what suits him. That's what suits his movement. Now, with all these women that have, and minorities and others, that have flipped Democrat seats to Republican and have come to Congress, there is talk of this new group called this Freedom Force that is supposed to be an answer to the squad, the Jihad Squad, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and some others. I don't like this idea. I don't like when somebody tries to imitate somebody else. It never works. Don't be a responder to what other people do. Do your own thing. Nobody wants to see the response where you're imitating somebody else. Be the leader. Listen, there have been all kinds of responses and imitators. If you look on TV, there are a million imitators of Judge Judy. Many of them, they were canceled because of poor ratings. There was an imitation of The View that was all men. It was produced and hosted by the late Dick Clark, featured Danny Bonaducci and some others. I think it lasted half a season. There are imitation murder mysteries that try to copy off of best-selling authors who do murder mysteries. Doesn't go anywhere. Be your own people. Don't try to respond to the Jihad Squad. Don't be like them. Don't style yourself on them. Do your own thing. Listen, there have been conservative groups on Capitol Hill for conservative congressmen for many, many decades. I worked on Capitol Hill for Republican members of the Republican Study Committee. There's the Freedom Caucus. Why do you need to start this new Freedom Force? Go join the Freedom Caucus. I just don't like this whole idea. That's just me. I just feel like you should be original, do your own thing. You don't need to imitate the others. All right, now, Joe Biden, speaking of imitating the others, he is imitating, and not actually imitating, he is a frail old man. This is not a good thing. So over the weekend, he got a fracture in his leg from playing with his dog. You get a fracture from playing with your dog, you are super frail. He's really old. And we warned people about him. And it's not even just about age. Donald Trump, 74 years old. And he is as spry as a 24-year-old. It's about Joe Biden himself. He's very frail. He doesn't know where he is. We know there was all this senility stuff coming on. He was in his basement, didn't know what he was running for, didn't know who the host of the show was, didn't know which state he was in, blah, blah, blah. Now he plays with his dog and he gets a hairline fracture, and they say it's hairline, but he has to wear a boot. This guy is not long for this White House. And then Kamala Harris is going to take over. The most radical U.S. senator, more radical than even Bernie Sanders, the Marxist, and Elizabeth Warren, the co-Marxist. This is not good. But a lot of my friends say, oh, you know what, she's going to stick it out. He's going to stick it out. She's going to make him stick it out till 2 years into the presidency and a day. Why? Because then she can be president for 10 years. Because if the president dies in office or otherwise can't be president after more than half the term, the next president gets to finish out the term and can run for 2 more terms. That's what she is planning. Watch that. Now, he picked an all-female communications team. He picked all women. Most of them are far-left liberals. Some of them are retreads from Obama. Jen Psaki, who was the State Department spokesman, she's back. You've got the woman that was the spokesman of his campaign. You've got this other woman that named Sanders, who was Bernie Sanders' spokesperson for his campaign. But they're all females, and he's touting that. You know what? If I picked an all-male set of employees, you know what they would call that? Illegal. That is a violation of the U.S. civil rights laws, of all the employment laws. That is illegal. But since it's women, since it's based on their internal plumbing and biology, and if they're women, and Me Too, and blah, 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 and since he smelled women's hair, I guess he's allowed to do it. It's illegal. If you or I did it, if Beck did it, they would get sued by the federal government and by all the people who got rejected on the basis of they didn't fit the right they didn't check the right box because they didn't have a vaginal canal. This is outrageous. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about more Biden appointees, some other stuff Biden did, and something about North Dakota roads that's interesting. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink for trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My name is Rich Shook, and I lost my best friend in a grain bin accident.
Some of the emotional scars that when these incidences happen just resonates throughout the community like dropping a rock in a pond. I guess I'll never forget. At least the last moments we shared. That's why I think this is so important to get out there to people, is people think that it can't happen to you, and it can. The time it would take you to just kiss a loved one and your life is over. I believe it's unacceptable.
This message provided by North Dakota Farmers Union.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. Now, before the break, we were talking about Joe Biden's all-female communications team, which is illegal. It's employment discrimination, and we should be against that. But we're not, because it's politically correct. And politically correct rules supreme, apparently. Another politically correct choice is Cindy McCain. So supposedly, it's rumored that Joe Biden is going to pick Cindy McCain to be the United Kingdom ambassador. What are her qualifications? I'm not quite so sure, because here's what she's done in her life. She was a teacher, fine. She retired from being a teacher very early on. Why? Because she didn't have to teach. Why? Because her father was a multi-millionaire that owned valuable beer distributorships, which she now owns. So now she's a multi-millionaire. She earned it the old-fashioned way. She inherited it. What else did she do? Well, when John McCain came back from Vietnam, his wife that waited for him, not her, his first wife, she was in a horrible car accident. She had gained weight because of that. She was confined to a wheelchair and also to crutches. And so what did he do? Well, he dumped her. First, he had an affair with Cindy McCain. And then he told her, you must divorce me. He divorced her, dumped her, and Cindy McCain got him by wooing him with her multi-millions. So that's her claim to fame. Oh, and I forgot. She endorsed Joe Biden. So apparently these are the qualifications to be the ambassador to the United Kingdom in a Joe Biden administration. Another person that he's looking to appoint is a woman named Neera Tanden. Now, Neera Tanden is the head of what's called the Center for American Progress. It's a far, far left liberal organization. All she has done is trash Republicans, including Republican senators. Guess what? Republican senators will have to vote to confirm her, and they're not going to because of that. They can also put holds on her nomination. John Cornyn from Texas, the Republican senator, who is no far-right conservative. He's for immigration, amnesty, and so on. He said she will never be confirmed, and I'm glad. Joe Biden wants her to be the head of the Office of Management and Budget. That is a very, very important gateway to administration policy, because she's in charge not only of the budget and all the funds, but all of the personnel decisions for the major jobs, the political appointees in a Biden administration. And she is far, far left. No to Neera Tanden. Now, Joe Biden had this cancer initiative charity. You may have heard about this. You heard, oh, Joe Biden does a lot for cancer. Guess what? They spent zero on charity, on the cancer that was supposed to be the beneficiary. Cancer research was supposed to benefit from the money raised by Joe Biden's cancer initiative. Guess what? They raised millions. The money went to salaries and overhead. Now, I want to give you some insight into what I do when I look at charities. So there is something called GuideStar.org, GuideStar.com. You can look at the tax forms, otherwise known as the 990s, for any charity that files with the IRS, which they all have to do. You can look at the last 3 years. You can look at what are they paying their executives. You can look at what percentage of the money is actually going to the charity. A rule of thumb, it's generally considered to be a wasteful charity if more than 25% of the money raised goes to overhead and salaries. In this case, Joe Biden, 100% went to salaries and overhead. None of it to cancer research. Another charity I could give you an example of is Sean Hannity had this thing called the Freedom Concerts, where he bamboozled a lot of working class Americans to come to these concerts. He spent a lot of the money raised on overhead to send his friends and himself around on private jets, Embraer jets, and in limousine-style cars like SUVs being driven by others, staying in hotel suites. Very, very little of this money went to the children of the fallen for college scholarships, as it was advertised, and also to the actual injured military that survived. I looked up their taxes, and I wrote about it, and that's why they don't do the Freedom Concerts anymore. It was largely a fraud. For example, a guy that lost 3 limbs and an eye got $200, so $50 a limb. Are you serious? While his friends went and he spent thousands of dollars on luxe accommodations and transport for themselves. So you got to look up these charities and you have to see where the money goes before you decide to give. Now, a big story, the Israelis and the assassination of the top Iran nuclear scientist. Did the Israelis do it? We don't know, but probably they're the only ones in the world that can really carry this out. They had an amazing machine gun on the top of a truck that's run by electronics from satellites and drones, and I think this is for one of 2 reasons. We know that B-52s from Minot were sent to the Middle East, even though we've had a troop drawdown in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I think, as I've said on previous shows, this is either to set the stage for an attack on the Iran nukes, which will be hard to pull off. If anyone can do it, the Israelis can. But they have over 40 nuclear sites, and they're all underground in concrete bunkers. They would need bunker busters at each of these places. It would take a lot of planning and coordination to pull off. Or it might be that Trump and the Israelis are doing this to stop Joe Biden from re-entering that horrible, horrible Iran deal. And that would be great if that is what's happening. Now, before we go, I just want to tell you, North Dakota's roads, they were rated as the best. North Dakota is the leader in the most cost-effective roads by Reason Foundation. It's a libertarian foundation. The state ranked 21 in the fatality rate, 42 in structurally deficient bridges. But in terms of the amount of money that they spend on the roads and what they get back, North Dakota ranked number 1, the nation's leader in the most cost-effective roads. So good for North Dakota. And remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow night.